Hi, dudes. I'm sorry, Wyatt. I'm sorry for being such a all these years.
Weird Science.
Hey folks, welcome back to the channel. If you clicked on this video, there's about a 99% chance you've already seen Weird Science. My question to you is, do you remember exactly how pervy this movie is? Go ahead and let me know in the comments. And I'm going to get into who stars in this movie, what it's about, why it's great, and why I still love it, even though it does have some problematic themes. First things first, this movie was directed and written by John Hughes. And if you don't know John Hughes' resume, it's extensive. This dude wrote, produced, or directed a ton of bangers. For example, National Lampoon's Vacation, 16 Candles, Mr. Mom, The Breakfast Club, National Lampoon's European Vacation, Pretty in Pink, Ferris Bueller's Day Off, The Great Outdoors, Uncle Buck, National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, Home Alone, Dutch, Curly Sue, Beethoven. The list goes on. This dude did a lot. Honestly, trying to talk about John Hughes would be an entire video in and of itself. Just know that when he made Weird Science, the man was literally in his prime. In the 80s, John Hughes seemed to have a knack for portraying teenagers on screen. Even if those teens weren't exactly representative of the entire country, you could still kind of relate. Back then, I didn't know anyone that lived like these teens in Weird Science. But that didn't mean that I couldn't relate to their situation. Most of the time, at least. I mean, Wyatt's family is obviously very wealthy. And the same goes for characters like Ferris Bueller. But honestly, who among us in this age group didn't grow up watching Ferris Bueller's Day Off, Pretty in Pink, Weird Science, Breakfast Club, or National Lampoon's Vacation on repeat? John Hughes definitely knew what he was doing. Now to quickly get into the stars of the film. Eli Mitchell-Smith plays Wyatt, who for some reason I thought starred in way more movies than this, but he really didn't do much. You also have Anthony Michael Hall as Gary, who we all remember from the 80s. If you grew up in the 80s, you absolutely know his face, even if you don't know his name. And he was recently in the 3rd season of Reacher. Pretty good. You should check it out. You also have Kelly LeBrock, who was a model turned actress. And most notably, you remember her from this movie and Hard to Kill with Steven Seagal. She's actually not a bad actress, and it's definitely one of the top draws of this film. Because if you were a young man back then, you absolutely loved this movie just for Lisa. The film also stars Bill fucking Paxton as Chet, Wyatt's older brother. Bill Paxton plays this role perfectly. And honestly, the man was born to play assholes, or creeps. And I can't forget a young Robert Downey Jr. as Ian. It's a fairly small role, but it's definitely memorable. And then there's Vernon Wells, who would play Bennett in Commando that same year. Also a small role, but you're not going to forget it. Oh, and I can't forget Michael Berryman as one of the mutant bikers. Here's a dude whose face you absolutely know, even if you don't know his name. So what's Weird Science actually about? The film centers on two socially awkward high school nerds, Gary and Wyatt, who struggle with bullies and lack of confidence, and they have zero luck with the ladies. They're frustrated by their inability to fit in. Gary comes up with a wild idea. If they can't attract girls in real life, why not create the perfect woman themselves? Inspired by Frankenstein and using Wyatt's advanced home computer, which honestly, it's kind of crazy that this would even work. This part of the movie just kind of turn your brain off, because the details about how Lisa comes about really make no sense at all. But anyway, they embark on their bizarre experiment. They hack into a government system for extra computing power, connect a Barbie doll to interface, and feed in data about beauty, intelligence, and personality. In a big explosion of electrical energy, their creation comes to life. A stunningly beautiful woman who they eventually call Lisa. Lisa's not just beautiful, she's confident, witty, and she basically has godlike powers. She can manipulate reality, conjure cars, clothes, or chaos whenever she wants. Her mission becomes clear: help Gary and Wyatt gain self-respect, confidence, and break free from the shackles of their teenage insecurities. Lisa quickly throws them into a series of wild and escalating events. She takes the boys to a trendy nightclub where Gary, emboldened and drunk, shocks patrons with his erratic and hilarious behavior.
Every night, Mitch. I ain't playing with you.
On the telephone?
What this boy talking about on the telephone, man?
Lisa eventually stages a massive party at Wyatt's home, inviting classmates and turning the home into chaos. Amidst the party, the boys face their main tormentors, school bullies Ian and Max.
It's the blueprint, okay? Now look. You like it?
Bigger tits.
Later, in an attempt to boost the confidence of Wyatt and Gary, Lisa ups the ante when a group of surreal Mad Max-style bikers storm the party and test the boys' courage. With Lisa's nudging, Gary and Wyatt finally confront their fears, stand up to the invaders, and win the admiration of their peers.
You can leave in peace. Or you can stay and die.
By the end of the film, Gary and Wyatt have transformed, not through magic, but by learning confidence and bravery and self-worth. They win the attention and affection of two genuine girls from school, and realize they didn't need fantasy to find happiness. Now that's the basic gist of the plot.
I'm really just getting off seeing you two guys straightened out.
Why do I still love this movie? Well, it has some genuinely good scenes, like the one with Gary in the bar right after they make Lisa. To me, that scene is still pretty funny. Even if you think about what Gary's saying, he's currently 16 in the film, and he's saying that the girl who broke his heart was an 8th grader the prior year, which would have made him 15 and not in the 8th grade. But okay, you can kind of excuse it because these are kids. But he's telling this story to adults, which also makes it a little awkward.
I mean, I was nuts for the girl. And what did it to me was these big titties she had. For a 13-year-old girl, man.
The scene with Chet towards the end of the film, after Lisa's turned him into like a turd or a frog or something, is always hilarious. It kind of comes out of nowhere, like you really don't expect this to happen. And I found myself still laughing at it, rewatching this film after so many years. Perhaps it's just how goofy looking the puppet looks and that it still sounds exactly like Chet, but I don't know. There's something about this scene that's still kind of hilarious to me. Okay, but now I gotta talk about the elephant in the room here. Forgive me if I go on kind of a tangent, but what are the regulations when it comes to the ages of actors and how they're able to interact on film? Because Kelly LeBrock was in her 20s when she made this movie, but both of the main characters in the film are supposed to be 16, and that was about their age in real life. So how was Lisa able to just kiss Gary in the film? Like, is that okay? Is that legal? I mean, I guess it is. The movie came out, but it seems really strange watching it as an adult. And believe me, I'm not some prude or anything when it comes to like sex and movies and whatnot. I'm just saying that watching the movie, it really seems like if Lisa wasn't some created character, she'd be a pedo. Almost like creating her out of thin air is the excuse that the film uses to make it okay that a 20-something is being so sexual with two teenagers. Because let's be real, if this was reversed and two female characters made a dude and he was being that sexual with them, like people would really have a problem with it. Which is also why I think this movie could not be remade in the exact way that it was made in the 80s. Because people are way more like hyper aware about these things nowadays and it just wouldn't fly. Like all these characters would have to be adults, or the character that they create would have to be their age. And it's not like this subject isn't brought up in the movie. Gary's dad brings it up and he's actually kind of angry about it, but it's all kind of played for a joke. It's almost as if, and I'm just speculating when I say this, that John Hughes wrote this movie with the intent of having Gary and Wyatt meet an older woman who gave them all this confidence, was just as sexual with them, and someone was like, hey, wait, that won't work because like technically that would make her a pedophile. And he said, oh wait, I got it. I'll turn this into a science fiction movie and make her like a Frankenstein character that they create, and then we can get away with it. Does that sound about right? Because if you look at John Hughes' resume, he didn't do science fiction. This is really the only science fiction film on his resume. But anyway, let me know in the comments if this is something you thought about back then, or if it's only something you consider now, being that the world is a lot different than it was back in the 80s, and we're a little more aware of these things. Yeah, let me know if watching it now, you have a different opinion about it. Because I do. Even though I still like the movie, I still really enjoyed it. That part of it came across a little weird now. Marty McFly's mom was trying to bang him. Not something I even thought about really as a kid in the 80s, but as an adult, you're like, oh yeah, that's kind of touchy. Anyway, folks, that's Weird Science. I also want to know what your favorite part of the movie is, favorite characters, favorite scenes, anything like that. If you like the content, hit the like button, share the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and I'll be back real soon. Thanks.